Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time it is for you, wherever you are. Hope you're doing well. And if you're not, I hope you'll be doing better within the next 5 minutes, or 10, or the hour, by the end of the day. Going to talk about boundaries again. Subject comes up a lot, and sometimes it comes up at times when we don't realize that's the main thing that that's either wait, okay, reel back. Boundaries come up a lot, and quite often it's not obvious that a boundary thing is the problem, or a lack of boundaries. So boundaries are really, really important. They're important for everybody involved. Obviously, personal boundaries are good for you, the person, and personal boundaries are good for everyone outside of you. The clarity of your boundary starts with you. It starts with us. It starts with me, my personal boundaries. So think about the different kinds of personal boundaries there are. Mental boundaries, the way you think. The way you think about a thing, your thoughts on a thing, your process of thinking on a thing. Being clear about what that is, even when you're not clear about what that is. Other people's opinions or other people's quote-unquote demands on your thought process is something you don't have to allow. But if you never really think about it, what are my mental boundaries? Mental boundaries in terms of my thought process and how I've had those boundaries crossed or not crossed. So that's one. Spiritual boundaries. A lot of the spiritual boundaries have to do with belief, which is different than thought process. So your belief system, what you choose to believe. It's your prerogative to believe that. So anyone challenging that belief that you have, and that spiritual belief doesn't necessarily have to be religious. It is a belief system that you may have. Embrace it, enjoy it, be clear about how you feel, so when someone approaches you or approaches that line, they can be made aware of it in trying to encroach upon your belief system. Another one is our stuff. Literal, physical, tangible stuff boundaries in terms of your ownership of your things. Allowing people to borrow your things. Or, that's really one of the main things. Or to use things that belong to you. What does that look like? It's like, oh, can I borrow your car? Well, are you cool with people borrowing your car? Or are you doing it out of guilt? It could be something very, very simple. It doesn't have to be as big as a car. Your things, your stuff. If you feel that uncomfortableness with the ask itself, it's important to let that be known right in the moment that, yeah, this is not feeling good, it's not feeling right, I simply don't want to do that. There are different ways to go about this. Another one, of course, is your time. How much time are you giving to other people? It's always good to give time to other people. However, there has to be some sort of boundary, some sort of system in place within you in terms of what you will accept and what you will not accept. The time you will give, the time you will not give. The time that's appropriate to you, time that's not appropriate to you. That has to be clear within ourselves. So time is another boundary. Another boundary is, what have we gone through? Oh, energy. Energetic boundaries. In a nutshell, there are energetic vampires out there. And they will suckle on your jugular for as long as you allow them to. And quite often this one can be tricky in terms of really seeing, feeling, understanding that you're being drained. Now you may offer your jugular to a spirit, to an energy vampire that you already know is a vampire, and you enjoy that exchange of being vampired. But there comes a time where it's too much. So the most important thing is that you are clear about the giving of your energy. Sometimes it's not a vampiric thing, but it's simply that you love to give. You may be a caregiver. You may be a service, a provider of emotional services, physical services, but all kinds of services. If you're in the service industry, if you're in the caregiving industry, this is a big one for you. It is for all of us, but you know what I mean. Your energy. Boundaries, very, very important. Physical boundaries. I think physical boundaries are one of the most obvious ones. Some people are huggers, some people are not huggers. How you approach someone, how you're being approached. Finding that comfort in wherever you are, just be clear about it. Just be clear about it. With no judgment, one way or the other. With no judgment. Because this is one of the most obvious ones, and I have seen this played out in so many different ways. You can be a very, very well-functioning human being in society without ever having to touch anybody. Now we're in the COVID madness around the world, with people out there who still believe there is no COVID and it's just whatever they think it is. I personally have too many people in the hospital right now who are friends of mine that I don't even want to go into that right now. But I bring it up because COVID and dealing with it, whether a person believes it's real or not, has opened up our consciousness in terms of our physical space, physical proximity. So it doesn't really matter whether a person believes COVID is real or COVID is not real. That's not the issue at all. The issue, what I'm talking about right now when it comes to boundaries, is that our spatial sense of self has been expanded because of it, because it's on the mind. It's on our mind. So we can be more clear. There are many people who have discovered certain positives and negatives about their boundaries simply because of COVID, physical boundaries. So all of these different boundaries, and there are more, and we're going to talk about them individually. I did a few of them before, and I think we may go back and redo them again because this is a subject that keeps coming up. Boundaries and different kinds of boundaries, different manifestations of boundaries. So one of the biggest things about boundaries and one of the biggest benefits to having boundaries is clarity. Clarity. That's it. Simplicity and clarity. So that's what we're going to think about in a few minutes of meditation right now. Clarity. That's it. Just to be clear. Being simple to begin with. You're sitting comfortable with your back straight. Put your attention at the point between your eyebrows. Take an inhale and an exhale and allow that to rest you in your body. Your feet, awareness of them. Wiggle your toes. So you're, yep, there's my feet. Ankles, same thing. There are my ankles, my calves, my knees, my thighs, my bum, my undercarriage, my belly, my ribs, my chest and shoulders, my arms, forearms, wrists, hands, fingers, lower back, lower spine, where your butt's hitting whatever you're sitting on, the middle of the back, the upper back, the space between the shoulder blades, your throat, behind your ears, your lips, your jaw, cheek space, top of your head, your ears. That space at that point between your eyebrows, just take another inhale through your nose. Inhale. And exhale. Give yourself a moment to just rest here in this space. As you allow your breath to simply do what it does, your body will breathe as it needs to. And moments where it doesn't inhale, perfectly fine. Just observe it as you keep your attention at the point between your eyebrows, nice and easy. Just rest here for a bit. In this space, take a nice inhale again. And exhale. Clarity. The simplicity of clarity. Affirmation we'll use today is exactly that, clarity. You are clarity. Clarity itself. Imagine being clarity itself. You are clarity. Being clarity, you have clarity. You naturally have clarity. So sitting comfortable, eyes closed, breathing normally, clarity, that word, what it means. Inhale, exhale, clarity. I am clarity. Being clarity, you have clarity. I have clarity. Having clarity, being clarity, you naturally radiate clarity. I am clarity, I have clarity, I give clarity. I am clarity, I have clarity, I give clarity. Keep saying it over and over. You can say it fast, you can say it slow, however you choose to say it. Simply dance with the thought, dance with that feeling, but continuously repeat it out loud, actually in a loud, open voice. I am clarity, I have clarity, I give clarity. I am clarity, I have clarity, I give clarity. I am clarity, I have clarity, I give clarity. Continuously repeat, I am clarity, I have clarity, I give clarity. Into a whisper, continue to repeat, I am clarity, I have clarity, I give clarity, whispering softer and softer. I am clarity, I have clarity, I give clarity. I am clarity, I have clarity, I give clarity. Softer and softer into a soft whisper, continuing until the whisper goes into silence. And this is where it goes deeper, stronger, and more expansive within our consciousness. I am clarity, I have clarity, I give clarity. Continuously repeat this affirmation, keeping your attention at the point between the eyebrows, sitting comfortably, relaxing and resting into that place, and sit as long as you choose to, as long as you have time for, continuously repeating, I am clarity, I have clarity, I live clarity. Silently allow it to flow through you, and continue as long as you choose, and then sit even longer in the silence and the stillness, feeling the fullness of clarity inside and out.